Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about lesson 98, which is about temperature. Okie dokie, so let's go ahead and just jump right on into this. So temperature. So when we look at a thermometer, there's two types of numbers. So we have positive numbers, which is what this plus sign is. So the positive numbers are greater than 0. So these numbers are above or in front of the 0. Now, negative numbers. Now, when we write negative numbers, they have this little minus sign in front of it. Exactly like this. In front of the number. So, these negative numbers are less than 0. Okie dokie. So, you're probably like, okay, that makes sense, but I need to see what you're talking about. Well, I'll just show you exactly right here. So, I'm just simply have these numbers on a number line. Okay, so if we look back at this page, our positive numbers, okay, are in purple. Our negative numbers are in green. So just keep that in mind. I have them color-coded for a reason. So these purple numbers are positive numbers, or in front of the 0. And our 0 is located right in the middle of this number line. Now, our negative numbers are always going to be on the left-hand side of the 0 or below the 0. Now, you're probably like, well, that's just -1 or -2, -3, -4, and -5. Okay, yeah, you can say it that way, but it's technically preferred that you say it as -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Because when it comes to temperature, you're talking about because you're talking about how the temperature is below 0. Does that make sense? Okay. For example, -3 and +3, they're the same distance away from the 0, okay? But if we look at this -5 compared to the 1, let's have the line blue. So if I'm looking at this 1 and this -5, which one is closer to 0? It's 1. Does that make sense? Just so you can see it on the number line compared to like an actual thermometer. Okie dokie. So, I know that was kind of confusing, but let's go and actually look at a thermometer. Okay, here's an example thermometer, and this is at the top of page 639 if you want to look at it. This thermometer right here is above example number 1. Okie dokie. So, let's look at it closer. Okay, now that I have it zoomed in, let's look at it. So, let's locate where +10, 0, and -10 are. So, these lines will be written in purple. Okie dokie. So, where is the 0 exactly? Okay, so it's right here. Where's the +10? It's right here. What about the -10? It's all the way at the bottom, yeah. So, let's look. Now, our fill line, or our actual thermometer, what raises high and low, is this little black area right here. Okay? Okie dokie. So, now that makes sense, I'm going to erase those lines. That way you don't see them as much. I'm still going to make sure you can see where -10 is, though. Bear with me. Okay? So, let's look. We know our positive numbers are above 0, which would be right here. Now, our negative numbers, they're below 0, so they're under this purple line. So, let's say these together, okay? Let's do that. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, -9, and last but not least, -10. Awesome. Okie dokie. Now with that being said, we got to determine what the actual temperature is that the actual fill line is at. Okie dokie. Now I'm going to erase the red lines and we can go back over those again. Okie dokie. We got to determine what temperature this thermometer reads. Now, mayday, mayday. This thermometer is reading in the temperature degrees Celsius. We in the U.S. like to be different, so we use degrees Fahrenheit. Everyone everywhere else around the globe uses degrees Celsius. So we will be reading this degrees Celsius thermometer. Okay? I promise you can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. Okie dokie. Let's read it together and determine what temperature this thermometer reads. Okay. I'm going to do this in red line. I'm going to mark the lines in red. I need you to count with me. Okie dokie. So we got -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Hold up. Backtrack. Have already kind of identified what temperature this is? Yeah. So we know that it's not a positive number, but we know for sure it's a negative number. Now let's look. This fill line right here comes right over to this line right here. So if we go back to it, this is -1, -2, -3, -4. Oh, bingo! I got it. So the temperature this thermometer reads is -4 degrees Celsius. Da, da, da. Good job. Awesome. Let's go ahead and try another one. Okie dokie. Let's do example 1 together on page 639. I have the page number right here for you to join me. Okie dokie. So I'm going to read this and I want you to follow along with me. Okie dokie. The high temperature for the day was 6 degrees Celsius. The thermometer shows the low temperature during the night. How many degrees are there between the high and the low temperatures? Okie dokie. Now, there's a few different ways you could read this and solve for it, but my favorite way is actually using the thermometer itself. So, under the question, it says specifically that, let's read it together. The distance between the tick marks is 2 degrees. Okie dokie. So, I'm going to zoom all the way into this thermometer. That way we can read it together. So, we know that the high temperature was 6 degrees Celsius for the day. So, I'm going to write it over here, 6 degrees Celsius. Now, on our thermometer, it says that the low temperature is, if this is -10 and it's 2 tick marks for each little line, that means this line right here would be -12 degrees. So our low would be -12 degrees Celsius. Now, where would the high temperature be on this thermometer? We know +10 is right here. Okay? So that means our 0, since our 0 is right here, we have 2, 4, 6, and 8. So this little line right here where I've marked is our high temperature for the day. So sorry. Okie dokie. Favorite part. Got it? Keep this in your memory. And you can always come back and watch this video, I promise. Okie dokie. So we have -12 degrees and 6 degrees Celsius. Hint, hint. Okay? I'm going to erase that. That way you can see it just a little bit better. Okay? So, we have our light blue, which is our -12. And we have our +6, which is our black number. Okay. Now, each tick mark is 2. So, that means we have 12 degrees up to the 0. So, 12. Okay. We got 14. What's 14 plus 2? 16. Okay, so that's 16. And then we add 2 more to the 6 to get to this +6, which would be what? 14, 16, 18 degrees. So if you notice, the difference between 6 degrees Celsius and -12 degrees Celsius is 18 degrees. Okay? Does that make sense? Let's go back and make sure that our numbers are right. Okay? I'm going to erase that. That way we can see it. And we're exactly right. Okay? It says that the final the final difference between 6 degrees Celsius and negative 12 degrees Celsius is 18 degrees. Now, I'm telling you, the reason why this is my favorite method to find the difference is because, wait for it, you can actually write it down next to the thermometer itself instead of actually finding and adding and subtracting and all the different types of numbers. It's way easier because if you know how many numbers or each tick mark identifies, it's easier to find the difference. Does that make sense? Okie dokie. Now, mayday, mayday, reminder. Now, this question, we gotta make sure. This is the last piece of information before I'll let you go. This question itself is on the Google form. It's an extra answer. But you got to make sure that you're solving it correctly. Now, let's do this together. When we add decimal numbers, we have to make sure entirely that this right here, our little decimal number, stays the same. It stays in line. But there's two things we're missing. First of all, we have 4.26, 8.0, and 15.9 that we're all adding together. But there's two things that we're missing. Here's the 6. But there's two things missing under the 6. So what would we put there? If you said the invisible 0, you're exactly right. Now, let's do this together, okay? Okie dokie. Ready? 6 plus 0 plus 0 is 0. That's 6. 9, 10, 11. We know that 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Plus 1 is 18. So I'm going to put 18. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Am I done? No. What am I missing? If you said the decimal point, you're exactly right. Psh. Okay. So my final answer is 28.16. Please make sure to write that problem down on your piece of paper. Hint, hint, extra answer. It is on the Google form, so keep that in mind. Okay, one last thing, and then you're free to go. Let me know you watched the video. That way I know you watched it and you understand what is going on. Okay, I miss you guys so much, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.